Hey guys, welcome to another video. Like I said in my previous video, in this one we are going to be building the blaster for the Imperial Officer that I have done. If you haven't seen that, please go check that out. We've got a whole build thread following the costume from beginning to completion. But for now, we're going to be building the Merr Sonn Power 5, which is the blaster you see them carrying mainly in the Death Star control room when Han, Luke and Obi-Wan arrive to rescue Princess Leia. So without further ado, here we go, let's go. So here we go. This is our base gun. It is a Denix C96 Mauser. If you don't know about Denix, they are a company based out of Spain, I believe. And they make metal guns which are really good for the price point that they pitch them at. Now this is a slightly older style Denix. It has their identifying diamond and logo on there, which we will be removing. It's quite easy to sand off as the metal is not too hard. It's not a steel or anything, so it's actually like a pot metal, I think they call it. So it's quite easy to work and refine. Here you can see I've got all the parts laid out. We've collected everything we need to do this build. There's quite a few bits to it, so I'm just going to go over them very quickly. This is the first bit. This is the flash hider and bull barrel extension for it. This gun, I believe, was cast from Han Solo's DL-44, but before it was finished, so it's got a lot of bits on it that weren't on Han Solo's. There's the distinctive flat bottom to the bull barrel there. This one is a really nice replica made by Field Marshal in the USA. Really happy with this piece. It's gonna look great when it's on there. This is the sort of antenna piece. I believe it's like some kind of old connection. This one I 3D printed. This is one of the Imperial code discs, which you see on a lot of all the Imperial things. This one just glues onto the side there. Now all these plastic parts are actually from model kits, but the person who made all the original pieces, I believe it's still in their family. They still actually make these pieces, and you can buy these kits for the Star Wars guns. They make them specifically for us guys to make these blasters. It's really good. Some T-track there, the same kind of stuff you see on the E11 blasters and of course the lightsabers. Now this is just a cheap connector that I got off of eBay. I need it just for the coiled bit of wire on the top. We're going to be cutting that down, trimming that down. These are more of the model kit parts. I believe these are parts of a rotary engine. But we're going to be cutting them in half and sticking them on, and you'll be able to see how I do that just in a little bit. Now these little buttons here make the little box pieces on the side. I believe on the original, from what reference that we have, it looks like they used to be a set of 4 and one pair of them was knocked off. I'm going to be doing it so that we have all 4. And they're also just 2 little washers on the side. I believe there's some cone knobs also on them. I don't have any good source for that, so we're not going to be putting those on, just the little washers there. So filing, we're just going to be removing that Denix diamond logo and the text there. It sands really easily. I took it up and used the Dremel on it just to put in some of those marks there. On original guns there is round machining marks, so I actually blended it out doing that. I then used some Tamiya paint just to paint that back in. It looks a bit different on camera, but it dried a bit darker and it's much harder to see in person. I will be weathering this up later just to blend it in, but kind of happy with how that removal went. It's looking good. Next came the nerve-wracking bit of removing the barrel. I worked out where the bull barrel was going to come to, and so I had to work out the length there. But then I just took a saw to it and took it off. Didn't take too much work, as I said before, the metal's pretty soft. And the bull barrel just goes on like so. It fits nice and snugly. I will be gluing it on later, but for now, yeah, it fits really good, and we're just going to be moving on from there. Next, we had to cut these in half. Luckily there is a seam line from where they are injection molded, so I'm just going to be popping it in the vise here and using the same hacksaw to cut it in half. I got it going with a Stanley knife just to get that initial cut, so that we're not scraping the hacksaw all over the edges that we're going to need. Just make sure I had to keep it straight, and I just cut both sides down that seam line. They're going to fit together like so, butting up against each other. We're just going to sand the bottoms of them so they're nice and clean, and then we will be gluing them to the gun. I just had to sand the bottoms like so and remove part of the centerpiece, as it's got to fit over this ridge that's on the base gun. So we just had to use the grinding wheel on my Dremel just to grind that out. I trimmed up my T-track to the right length. It wasn't too difficult. It's quite a soft plastic, but these are going to make the sight piece, along with the two little push rods here, also from the model kits. Now the buttons to make the boxes, they're actually filed down flat, so they're just like little squares. These are actually too small. They're smaller than the ones used on the gun if you look at the scale of them, but I bought these ones as per someone on the RPF, and we're just going to be using some styrene to make them a bit wider. It'll all be painted to blend in, so you won't really see. I just marked out all the styrene pieces. Well, I don't know if this could be ABS, I can't remember which one I bought, but I just marked it out, scored and snapped. It was pretty easy, and then just using super glue and a bit of kicker to put them all together into these little two side-by-side configuration. I put the super glue on one side and the kicker on the other. Then when you touch them together, they bond almost instantly. We had a few little overlaps on the little boxes here, but that's easily sorted out with a bit of filing and sanding. I sanded them all flush and then hit them with a coat of primer just to see what they look like, and then sanded them again just to get them all flush. I think I used the hacksaw just to add that little groove into the middle, and just using super glue to attach them to the main gun. I was sure to score the underside of the little boxes and the main gun just to give the glue a little something to bite to. It's important, otherwise they're going to fall off or be knocked off much more easily. The top sight piece, which I had printed originally, I felt was a little too small, so I scaled it up on my 3D printer and printed it again. I printed it at a really small layer height, so we don't have to do much finishing to this. So I just glued the T-track to the ball barrel, and that was that.
And that's it, guys. That's our Merr Sonn Power 5 build complete. You might look at it and go, Dan, that's not done. It's not painted. It's missing a load of pieces. Well, you're right. What we actually will be doing is be creating a 2-part mold of this gun. That will be in an upcoming video. Hopefully we can then cast this in a semi-flexible material, which is very similar to what they would have used in the original Star Wars. I'm going to be doing multiple molds for this. We're going to mold some of the top parts of this separately, just for ease, and it should come out better. Then we can just glue them together afterwards. But yeah, overall very happy. Look forward to that in an upcoming video. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.